Oh, yeah. We're gonna go. Okay. Yeah, you keep me on time, okay? Are these clocks right? Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I want to welcome everybody to today's Slices for Success session, proudly sponsored by the student organization Women of Color. We are elated to have a diverse group of participants both here and in person. So your presence always is greatly appreciated. Now, with great pleasure, with the greatest pleasure, I've known this person for some time and I'm so happy to see them back here today. You have no idea. To introduce to you today, Dr. Laneika Musalini. She's not only a dedicated educator, but also an advocate for the principle of inclusion, service, and integrity. At the core of her character lies a steadfast commitment to centering equity in her daily life. Her tireless promotion and execution of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, initiatives have created welcoming environments where individual strengths are not only recognized, but nurtured to overcome daily challenges. By fostering diverse and inclusive environments, Dr. Musalini has unlocked a treasure trove of ideas, facilitating meaningful collaborations and empowering individuals to find a sense of belonging. Now, Dr. Musalini's impact extends far beyond the classroom, with numerous professional development sessions and workshops under her belt. She has had the privilege of engaging with people from all corners of the globe. Her contributions to Incura magazine as a contributing editor for the inclusion column, along with her co-authorship of the book, Virtual Reality in Higher Education, Instruction for the Digital Age, further underscores her commitment to advancing the discourse on inclusivity. Now, let's talk a little bit about her awards. I can't cover them all because there's so many, but I do want to give you a little bit. Now, recognized as an award-winning servant leader and DEI practitioner, Dr. Musalini's accolades include Anderson University's Alumni Service Award, Incura's Distinguished Service Award, and the MLK Junior Excellence and Service Diversity Award, among many others. Her academic achievements include Doctor of Education degree in Higher Education, Executive Leadership from Wingate University, and these all reflect her dedication to continuous growth and learning. All right. Dr. Musalini's impact on the realm of diversity, equity, and inclusion is profound and far-reaching. From her role as keynote speaker for the South Carolina Legislative Delegation Women's Caucus to help leadership in developing DEI initiatives for global organization and impacting thousands of members, her work has left a mark on countless communities. Through her initiatives such as DEI, educational webinar series, and virtual career development programs, she has not only raised awareness, but also equipped individuals and organizations with the tools to enact meaningful change. Now, in addition to her professional endeavors, Dr. Musalini is deeply committed to community outreach. Her leadership in creating career preparation programs for high schoolers and securing grants to provide equitable access to career and technical education for underserved students exemplifies her dedication to creating more inclusive society. Now, as we prepare to hear from Dr. Musalini today, let's be inspired by her unwavering dedication to inclusive education and her relentless pursuit of equity and justice. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Laneika Musalini as she comes to share her expertise with us.
I didn't think she was ever going to get done. I told her don't read all that stuff, but I didn't write that. You should follow me, Mia. I need you to write my bios. Yeah. But welcome, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time out to be with us this afternoon. I am excited to be on the campus of Tri-County Technical College, my alma mater. Thank you very much. I started at Tri-County, y'all. Not just with work, but I was a student here, and I am proud to be an alum of Tri-County Technical College. And I see a lot of faces in the room that I know. So I also worked here for 10 years. It's exciting to be back. It's been a while. About 2 years, I believe, since I've been back to campus. So thank you so much for the invitation. And see if we can get here. It's going backwards. Hold on. Don't get dizzy. I've had vertigo like 2.5 weeks now, y'all. So if you see me wavering, just look. Don't make any noise. But I wanted to come up with something very creative for my theme today. And I came up with from surviving to thriving. If you know anything about my story, you know that I come from very humble beginnings. And so just to be where I am now and looking back over my life and how God has blessed me and placed me in places that I feel like I didn't deserve to be and opened doors for me that, a lot of people don't get those opportunities. And I am most grateful to have those opportunities and that people saw something in me that I did not see in myself from the beginning. And so for you as students, I want you to really know that message, right? So you're where you are. A lot of times, if you're like my kids, you live in the moment. It's a day by day thing. You just trying to make it through today. You can't see beyond what's happening currently around you, but it's very important that you take the time to sit down and figure out who you are and where you want to go. No one may ever tell you that. I know your parents probably get on your nerves telling you what you need to be doing. It's okay for them to care and to want you to do something, but make sure that your journey is your journey. And that is an important nugget for you to take with you, because people around you will tell you what you need to be doing or what they think you should be doing, but they don't know the plans that God has for your life. That's up to you as an individual. And if you're not doing what you want to do and what makes you happy, then what you're doing is going to be in vain. At the end of the day, you need to be happy within yourself, what you're doing, and you need to be on a path that's going to take you to where you want to be in the future. So today I'm going to talk briefly about my humble beginnings, goal setting, securing funding, overcoming challenges, and then give you a few final takeaways and tips. So just a little bit about me. I am an Andersonian. I graduated from Hanna High School. I had big plans to go to Howard University and study law after I graduated high school. But I was a first generation college student, did not know what I needed to be doing. I had people in my church, like educators, who would talk about test prep and things like that. But as far as getting real dirty and down to the details, I did not have that. And my parents did not have a clue. And so I was ranked really high in my class, like the top 5%. And I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to get there. And then life happened. And so I took trade classes at McDuffie. For those of you from Anderson, you know what McDuffie is, later called the Hannah Westside Extension Campus, and then the Career Center, and now it's AIT. But I was a business student there, and I had 2 business teachers who I'm very fond of. One who has gone on, Betty Pearson, she was amazing, and Tammy Matthews, and we still stay in touch now. And they used to tell me that I had something special, but I didn't know I had something special. I was one of 3 children, both working parents. They graduated from District 5, but beyond that, it was, you're going to work. And I didn't want to go to work like the work they were doing. because I saw that they were tired all the time and drained. They had to get up early or they had to stay, up really late. My dad worked third shift. I knew I did not want to do that. And so on my senior awards day, Miss Pearson and Miss Matthews gave me a scholarship to Tri-County Technical College. And they told me, you're really good at what you do. We want you to go this summer and take some tests so that you can test out of some of the required classes because we know you can do the work. And so that's what I did. I came up here, took some tests, got credit for some of the courses, used my scholarship to come here for school. Did that for 2 years and graduated with my associate degree in business with a major in administrative office technology, I think is what they call it now. That's not what it was when I was here, but that's Dr. Carolyn's area. But I love the program. And I thought, being an administrative assistant back then called a secretary, I thought that was something amazing, because my parents didn't have that opportunity. And I get to dress up every day and go to an office and meet people. Well, that's what you get to do, but that's not real world, right? You have to deal with people. You have to know how to navigate the professional world. You have to know how to protect yourself as well, because there aren't many places that you go to that people genuinely care about you. So I always say it's really important to build your network and to be who you are. When you go into the workplace, don't pretend to be somebody that you're not. People should accept you for who you are. And especially for me, it was difficult because I have 2 strikes already. I'm female and I'm Black. So my opportunities aren't the same as those, that my colleagues had. They had way more opportunities than me, but I was determined to be successful. I was determined to thrive. I was determined to meet my goals. So early on in life, I knew that I wanted to have a doctorate. I used to talk to the educators in my church and ask them, what's the highest degree that somebody can get? And one of them told me it's a doctorate degree. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. And that was a long, long time ago, but I'm better. So I reached that goal. But just so you know, it doesn't matter where you start. What does matter is how you run the course and complete the race. I can probably speak to all of the adults in here. I can say that your path was probably not linear. There were curves, there were bumps, there were detours for you to get to where you are today, right? Can y'all agree with me? Yeah. So whatever you think in your head, that's not how it's going to play out in real life. Because as you hear today, life be lifing. I've heard that several times. Life is lifing, and it really does. But you have to be resilient enough to bounce back and to learn from every situation that you're put into. I can honestly say that there has not been a situation that has been bad. I've gone through some things that weren't good, but I learned from the situation. And that taught me how to move forward. That taught me how to look at things differently. It taught me to put new tools in my toolbox and be critical and analytical and strategic about how I move. And so what I would do is I would start to watch other people who I saw as successful. And I would watch the things that they did, and I would listen to their conversations to see how I could navigate a space. And I learned from that. I can tell you now, there's not a room that I walk in where I don't command attention. And I'm not even trying to be, sedity or anything. It's just who I am. It's my personality. I don't meet a stranger. I can talk to anyone. I can communicate with anyone. I can deal with anyone. I may not like you, but I can work with you. and we can accomplish some things. So we have to be smart enough to remove ourselves from situations, because a lot of times things aren't personal towards you. You never know what other people may be going through. I tell my kids all the time, be careful what you say to people and how you approach people, because they may not be going to a home where they're loved and where they have a hot meal and running water. So be careful. Make sure that your character is such that when you're not in the room, your name is being mentioned in a positive manner. Goal setting. Goal setting is key, especially as a current college student and beyond. Because after I graduated college, I realized then that my life was just now starting. So I would write down things. Whatever I wanted to do, I would write it down. And then I would consider, how can I make this happen? So my thoughts are for you to really consider, what is it that you want to do? What do you want to be in life? Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? How are you going to get there? What does it take? What resources can you utilize? Who do you know in your circle? Who do your parents know? Take advantage of those things. It's not using people. It's stepping stones to help you to get to where you want to go and to be who you want to be. And like I said, it may not be linear. There may be some challenges along the way, but you can do it. It may not work the way that you thought it was going to work, but I always have a plan B, C, and D. And when it doesn't work, it wasn't meant for me. And that's how I look at it, and that's how I can move forward. I try not to hang on to things or be negative about things, because that doesn't help me prosper in any way. So you have to really be realistic. The world can be harsh. It can be really harsh, and people may not understand what you want or what you're trying to accomplish or why you need to accomplish something. But it's up to you to walk out what you want in life. You can't let people deter you from going where you want to go and from being what you want to be. And even as an adult, by the time I got to Anderson University, I was considered a non-traditional adult student. And so I worked during the day. I had 2 kids, and at night I went to school until 10 o'clock at night. And I did that twice a week. And I did my homework, and I made sure that I was, writing down questions and taking advantage of all of the opportunities that were presented to me. I made sure to build relationships with my professors and with people in that space, just in case I might need something. And guess what? I'm still connected to those professors today. I had one professor at AU that I just despised at one point. He was my marketing professor. And to me, he wasn't given the guidance that I desire, a level that I desire to make sure that I can complete my work the way that I like to complete it, because I always strive for an A. Sorry, but I do. And if I don't make an A, yes, I do get upset about it. But again, that's something that I can learn from. But this particular professor, he wouldn't take my phone calls. If I tried to meet with him after class, he just kind of shunned me or whatever. And I got very, very frustrated, because in my mind, I'm going to fail my final project if I don't get the answers that I need so I can process this whole thing and put it together, right? So I went to his boss and I reported him. And after that, he reached out to me and he said, "You didn't have to report me." I said, "Yes, I did, because I came to you first. I followed the chain of commands. I came to you first. You ignored me. You didn't give me what I needed. So I had to tell your boss. And now look, now you're reaching out to me. Well, this could have been avoided. So don't be afraid to use your voice. There's a way that you do it. You don't have to be nasty about it. You don't have to have an attitude, but there's a way that you can communicate with people to get what you need and to get your point across. So always remember that. It doesn't take you being negative. It doesn't take you blowing up. Go to who you need to go to, say your piece, walk away. It'll be fine. So that's one thing that I always believed in. The people who I work with can tell you, Laneika is not afraid to say what she needs to say. And I'm not, because we're all human. And the last time I checked, I'm pretty sure we get out of the bed the same way. We put our clothes on the same way. We may have different titles, but that doesn't make you better than me. And that's how I pursue life. You can't go through life being afraid. And you can't be afraid to use the voice that God has given you. You never know who you're going to impact by speaking up and by using your voice. So always, always use your voice. Be confident in who you are. People can see when you're timid, and a lot of people will take advantage of that. So practice being confident, practice using your voice, practice being calm, and practice how to communicate with people. Watch YouTube videos. I mean, it's free, for goodness sake. But this here, I create a vision board. For New Year's, I had my family to create a vision board. And I can tell you, I have probably already accomplished half of what was on my board, and it's only April. But I'm determined to see those visions become reality. And so in your goal setting, it may be that you have to see the picture of where you want to be to keep you motivated to get to that place. So please, what is your vision and how are you going to get there? Those are really important questions that I want you to think about. And I want you to take that with you and reanalyze your life, what you're currently doing. If it doesn't align with where you're going, let it go. You might be wasting your time. And I tell my son, I have one son left at home, and he wants to do fashion design. He just launched his new clothing line and brand a few weeks ago, and he's a teenager. He was applying for jobs, and I'm like, why are you applying for jobs at restaurants when that's not where you're going? Apply at a clothing store. So you can see, feel the textures, feel the different materials, look at the way that things are packaged, the way that things are presented, so you can learn and you can use that when it's your time to be in that place. And that's how you have to look at it. So I started out as an admin assistant, but that was just a stepping stone for me. In that role, I learned how to communicate verbally. I learned how to communicate in writing. I learned how to write emails. I learned how to communicate with my customers and clients and how to navigate in the space, how to connect with people, how to network, meet new people. Always take advantage of the space that you're in. Never leave a stone unturned, because you never know what blessing may be waiting for you. Securing funding, I bet that's why y'all are here. Ching, ching. Miss Bev, what is my theme song? Do you? Hey, that's it. Yes, that is my theme song. Let me tell you, secure the bag. Education is expensive. I have 5 degrees, I know. But you can't do it alone. And my parents couldn't afford for me to go to school. So it took people like Miss Pearson, Miss Matthews to believe in me, to invest in my future and into my career, for me to even get jump started with where I wanted to be. But I knew that I wanted more. How was I going to get there? I didn't know how I was going to pay for school. So after I graduated from Tri-County, I went to work and I started trying to save my money. After being in the workplace 2 years, I came back to Tri-County for general studies, and I got my general ed classes transferred to AU as a working adult. But even then, I took the time to do my research. I applied for scholarships. I had to ask questions, go to financial aid, ask questions, see what other opportunities are available. Take advantage of work study opportunities if you qualify. Again, connect with folks. Meet the folks in the foundation office to see when these things are going to come out and what other opportunities may be available, because there could be some scholarships available off cycle, right? So y'all have the fall offerings and then you have the spring offerings. Make sure that you are applying every time those scholarship applications open. You never know when it may be your turn. I received several scholarships when I was here. I'm an ABNY scholar, and I still stay connected with them today, because one of the things about it is you have to be appreciative of your benefactors, the people who saw fit for you to stay in school. You never know, again, what people are going through, what their situation is. So your $100, your $500, that's going to help me some way. It may not cover everything, but that's 100 or 500 that I didn't have. And it helped me to get to where I needed to be. And so when it was time for my son to go to college, we started like his freshman year doing research about scholarships, what opportunities were available, what did he qualify. And for the ones that he qualified for, we created a spreadsheet. We listed those scholarships, we listed the criteria, we listed the application deadlines, and all of the things that he needed to qualify and apply for those scholarships. And then we worked towards that. So when his senior year came, summer, junior year, senior year, we started applying for all of those scholarships because he was ready. He had prepared himself to take advantage of those opportunities. And he landed the Bill and Melinda Gates scholarship, paid for his whole college education. But we had to do our research. We had to do the homework. We had to put the time in, because how many students do you know gonna sit down over the summer and write 10 essays? This baby said no. And that's true, not many. And so those people are already out of the running. Competition is stiff. And so if you know that your regular student is not even applying, guess who's applying? The high caliber students. They're taking the time to do that. So your application needs to be especially well in order for you to be considered. That may not be the case here, though. I worked in the foundation a long time, and we have scholarships that people just don't apply for. Apply for all of them if you qualify. Seriously. Because you just never know. If you don't get it in the fall, real spring. Who's going to tell you can't? But one thing we know for sure, if you don't apply, you won't get any money. So do what you need to do. Follow all the instructions, apply early if you can. And then once you get the funding, be good stewards of your money. Don't just get the money and go buy some rims or some type of technology that isn't, going to help you in the classroom. Utilize your funding for things that are going to help you to finish your education and to be successful while you're here. If you're looking to go on to another institution after you leave Tri-County, then guess what? Keep your grades up. Make sure that you're doing your part so that when it's time to transfer, you can also qualify for some of the scholarships at those institutions. But you have to do your homework, because how they do scholarships is different from how Tri-County does scholarships. There's only a certain time of the year, usually way early in the fall, that they put you in this pool to be qualified for scholarships. So you can't wait until after you get your student bill and say, I don't have enough money. You can't do that. All the money's gone by then. Do it early. If you know in the spring that you don't have the money for the fall, go talk to your financial aid counselor. Go talk to the people in the foundation office to see how you may qualify for funding and make the best of it. Utilize your community resources. I was a member of the WAX program at AIM, and they helped pay for childcare while I completed my education. Can you imagine the burden that was lifted off of my shoulders? Not having to worry about how I was going to pay for childcare while I'm at school. That means the world to me. I would never forget that organization because of that. So utilize your community resources. And then, of course, overcoming challenges. I told you a little bit about my story, but what I want you to know is to not get caught up in the moment. Trouble doesn't last always. It may be just for a little while, but that's going to determine your character. The way that you handle situations helps to build your character and who you are. If you give up every time, you're never going to pass the test. You have to stay in it in order to become stronger and to become resilient and to be successful to overcome those things. So don't get caught up in the moment. Know that it's going to pass. It's going to pass. Analyze the situation. Sometimes when we're in things, it's hard for us to see beyond that or outside of that, but sit down and really think about what is going on. How did I get here? And how can I get out of this? Consider your options and then pivot. If it's not working for you, do something else. Don't force it to work. When it's your time, it's going to be your time. Remain positive always. And I know that's easier said than done, but it is so true. If you remain positive, you're going to feel better about the situation and it'll be easier to get through. One of my things is listening to worship music. That puts me in a good mood. It helps me to be calm. It keeps me grounded because sometimes I can hit 100 real quick. And then I have to rein myself back in. But that's part of being human. And then again, I cannot say this enough, utilize your resources. There are a bunch of people around here, and I know that you have advisors for this committee. So talk to those people, ask questions. Get connected. I bet you they know people who can help you with your situation or who has been through what you've been through. Don't be afraid to open your mouth, communicate. And then again, linear paths, they're rare, almost non-existent. So don't expect that what you have in your mind is going to be your path to where you're going. You're going to have to take some detours, but don't let that deter you from where you're going. It is okay. Sometimes my GPS will say, turn right in whatever miles. And I go, no, I know this way. I'm just going to keep going. And then it starts saying recalculating. Well, sometimes in life, we have to recalculate. We're still going to end up in the same place. That's how you have to look at it. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success because we have to learn from every mistake. We have to learn from every failure. We have to learn from every situation. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's called a learning opportunity. So don't feel like because something didn't go your way or the way that you thought it should have been, that you failed. You're never a failure. My advice to you is to get up and try again. You're going to succeed eventually. I don't know how long it'll take you, but hey, you'll succeed. It may take way longer than you think, but at least you stayed in it, right? Yeah. So my final tips and takeaways, always ask questions. Always ask questions. I've been on committees and in groups where I was that student where the teacher was going to let you out early and they said, are there any questions? That was me. I'm going to ask all the questions because I need to know. I can't do what I need to do if I am not well informed. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Check your emails. I know when I was working here, a lot of students would say, well, I didn't know. It went on the email. Did you check your email? No, you lost the opportunity. So be sure to check your emails. I know you get a lot of stuff that you consider junk, but believe me, it's not all junk. Read it so you can be well informed. Follow through. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to do something and you know you're not able to do it, go back to that person and let them know. Communicate, because otherwise they're going to think that you're not trustworthy. Be a good steward of your word. Your character is everything. If you don't have anything else, your character can place you in positions that you don't even deserve. Keep a clean social media presence. I know I sound like your grandmama, but it's true. Look at the news lately. There were several students who lost full ride scholarships because of their dirty social media posts. And when I say dirty, I mean guns, violence, drugs, cardigan, things that don't align with the mission, vision, and value of the people who are investing in them. Keep your social media clean. You can do all that stuff. You just don't have to tell everybody. That's all. And build your social capital. You've heard me talk about networking several times. I cannot say this enough. Build your social capital. Your social capital is your network. Those are people who you're connecting with, who you're building relationships with, people who can help connect you to other people who may not be in your circle. And then think about the number of people that that person may be connected to. You never know who someone knows, who's watching you, who can help you, who can hurt you. So be vigilant. But social capital is, y'all, is money. Social capital is money. Part of my dissertation talked about the decision-making factors that African-American students considered when thinking about coming to a two-year institution. What I learned in my research is that African-American students have very little social capital because we're afraid to ask questions. We don't talk to people who we're not comfortable with. We don't connect with people outside of our circles. We're usually very close with our families. So we don't worry about those folks over there. Let them do what they do. We do what we do, but it hurts us. Broaden your network. Connect with people who don't look like you. Some of my best friends don't look like me. Some of the opportunities that I've been provided came from friends and connections who did not look like me. Be courageous. Take risks. Don't be afraid. It may not feel good. It may not look good. It might even stink a little bit. But take some risks. Do it. And I used to tell people all the time, but what if? It's either going to be a yes or a no. You're either going to stand or you're going to fall. Either way, you can get back up and try again. Be courageous. Know your worth. This is especially important for females and also for males of color, because the world tells us that we're not worthy. The world tells us that because we don't look a certain way, we don't belong in that position or in that space. I hear people talking all the time. There is no way that the US can have a female president. Women are too moody. They're too emotional. And y'all don't have any emotions. Okay. Don't let people tell you who you are. Know who you are. Be confident in that. And that's what you stand on. I refuse to let people tell me who I am. I know who I am. And I know whose I am. And that's it. No discussion needed. And then always do your best. You can't complain if you didn't do your best. Your best may not be 100%. Your best may be 70% today, but you give that 70%. That way you have no regrets. Now, to take away, I want y'all to know this. Don't just survive. I want you to live. You have your daily routines, you have homework, you have family, you have work, you have all this stuff going on. And you're so content with making sure that you're doing all the things, but you're forgetting to do this. So what if you make all A's? So what if you graduate? So what if you go to work and you get a paycheck? If that's all you're doing, when does this come into play? There's a balance. Figure out what your balance is. Because when you get older, you don't want to look back and say, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. I always try to make the best of every opportunity that I have. I always try to find balance. Now, I'm not gonna say I don't overwork myself, because I do, and sometimes my husband have to say, you see what time it is? And I have to come out of my office. Because once I start doing something, I'm focused and I want to get it done, but that's not healthy. We have to live. The fact of the matter is, if we die tomorrow, we're going to be replaced. So what were you doing with your little dash? Are you living a life that you love, that you desire, or are you living a life of regret or living for other people? Don't forget to live. Now, we have 13 minutes. I believe I'm being on time. What do you want to know? What is it that I did not cover that you want to ask? Or is there something that I did talk about and you want to know more about? Don't be afraid. Okay, Mia?
Earlier, you mentioned, uh, talking about, female president or women in power.
Mhm.
People have a fear of women being emotional.
Yep.
But being a human, humans are emotional. It's just that men in society have not been permitted by and large, or thought that they should show their emotional nature in a healthy way.
Wow.
And so because of that, when they sometimes see someone showing emotion, they may see it in a different way.
Mhm.
But it's just, it's good for everybody to know. Women have emotion, men have emotion. It's just being able to, show it in a way that is just.
Right. Well, in our society, men have not been taught to be emotional creatures. They're taught to suppress their emotions. They're taught that if you cry, you're a wimp or you're weak. Or if you respond in a certain way, then that's not masculine. And that is not true. So, even though people say these things, it all goes back to bias and prejudice. Because the world has taught us, and it's been ingrained in us, that this is how it should be, when that's false. And so now what we see is a lot of our males, and especially males in power, are dealing with mental health issues because they don't know how to navigate their emotions and deal with situations. I said women for president. Just my thought. August looked like he wanted to say something.
You have certainly really powerful, certainly make sure students can take that and implement it into their lives.
I hope so. Thank you. Dr. Carolyn?
Yes, you talked about taking advantage of the space you are in. What if you step out and take advantage, but it just seems like there's a barrier, obstacle, hindrance?
It
Have any
happens.
suggestions?
Oh, let me tell you. A lot of times people don't like my presence at the boardroom. Because I'm not someone who's going to come in and sit down and just flip through the papers and listen to what you have to say. My brain works. I have thoughts, I have questions, I have suggestions. And so I've been told, I remember being told, now, young lady, you come in here and you sit down and don't say a word. I probably talked the whole time. Because who are you to tell me not to say anything? Like, I can't think for myself. That is crazy. So anytime that you go into a space and you feel like you can't be yourself, first of all, speak your piece. Secondly, don't show up again until you're ready. But two, don't let people force you out of a space that you know you belong in. That's why building your confidence, practicing building your confidence is important, because people will try to intimidate you and make you feel like you don't belong. But when you know that you know that you know, you stay in that space. And when it's your turn, they'll see you. They can play blind all day long.
What would you tell your younger self?
Oh, I wrote a whole letter to my younger self. But if I could talk to my younger self, I would tell my younger self, first of all, don't be afraid. Be courageous. Step out on faith. Listen to what you hear inside and to use your voice. Because I remember that there was a time I was afraid to use my voice. I was told that my voice wasn't important or that I didn't deserve to be somewhere. But I had to learn within me that I had every right to be in that space, just like the next person. So don't be afraid and don't be shy. Step out on faith and take the risk. Make it happen.
And one thing you all may not know, prior to meetings, and I've been in a number of meetings and committees, with Dr. Musalini, she is going to prepare meticulously. She is going to be prepared, she's gonna have her things together, she's gonna send you the documents, and then she's going to be ready. And in order to claim the space and have opinions, we have to first prepare and know what we're talking about.
Yep.
And I can tell you that she always does that. She is prepared, ready, and informed.
I'm a person who, again, I use my voice, but I have to know what I'm talking about. So I read a lot, I know a lot. And if I don't, you're not going to hear much from me. That's why I have to prepare, because I have to know what I'm talking about and I have to be able to present facts. And when it's my turn to speak up, then it's my turn to speak up and I'm going to command your attention. So please always prepare. Even if you're going in to talk to your professor, have your questions written down, have done your homework, know exactly what you're asking about. If there is something that you did not understand, write that down as well and tell them why you didn't understand it. I had a professor at Clemson, I could have just, I ended up dropping out of his class because he was a butthole. But I remember walking up to him, it was a master's level accounting class. And I had missed some days because my baby was in the hospital, but I'd done my homework and I had questions about it. And so after class, I went and stood waiting for him because there were other students. He pointed to every student except me. And so after he got done asking everybody else what he could help with, I stood there and I waited. He didn't say a word. And I said, excuse me, I have questions. And I had them written down and I asked him my questions. And his last thing was, well, had you been in class, you would have known. And so I had to let him know my baby was in the hospital. And at the end of the day, my family comes first. I can always retake this class, but you're not gonna make me feel less than because you felt like I should have been present. That class didn't make or break me. So don't be afraid. Ask your questions, be prepared. He knew by the questions that I asked that I had done my work. So I had no regrets.
Are there any questions online? You want to make sure, okay, I don't want to ignore and make you feel as though they're not.
What about you guys? He was really engaged by his body
Yeah,
language.
that table was, they were.
Yeah.
Doing an excellent job.
I enjoyed listening. I think it's cool for me to hear from people that don't look like me. Specifically. So I appreciate you speaking on this topic.
Absolutely.
Kind of giving me some tools on how to succeed. I mean, for me, I don't love using the word, but like I recognize my privilege for sure. I don't view it that way as such because I definitely think that we're all human at the end of the day. We all can seize the opportunities and let opportunities go. Just because that's it. We're human and we're lazy sometimes and sometimes we're hardworking. But I really enjoyed hearing what you had to say on how you really grabbed success. You didn't kind of like play a victim mindset or waited for it to come to you. You really went out and got it. So
Yeah, and you have to.
Yeah.
Don't wait for anything to fall in your lap because your lap might be empty for a really long time.
yeah,
What is your name?
great.
Thank you, Braden. I appreciate your insights. That means a lot for you to speak up and to say, you know I have privilege. Because a lot of people they'll deny their privilege. Everyone else knows they have privilege, but they deny it. So I appreciate you recognizing that and understanding that your privilege can take you places that I may not be able to go. Another thing you said too, though, is that we're all human, and you're right. We all have privileges. My kids have opportunities that someone else's kids may not have because of the spaces that I've been in and the people that I've connected with. So I think it's important for everyone to know that as well. Like, you will always have more opportunities than me, but I still can take advantage of some of those same spaces. So thank you for speaking up.
And with this new generations or generations to come, as you are open and you're having these conversations, you're changing the world.
Yes.
So I'm just happy to see, where that goes from having these experiences and these exchanges. Really.
Yep, that's the only way we learn. And I think, right now there's a war against DE&I. And the thing with me is that the people who are professing these things to be wrong, to be divisive, are unlearned. They haven't sat in rooms and had conversations, because I find that I learn most when I engage and when I talk to people and when I learn about your culture and what you've been through, and you learn about my experiences to get an understanding. That's when we grow, and that's when we become better together. If we're denying that opportunity to people, it's a sad, sad situation. Don't ever be afraid to have a conversation with people who don't look like you or who don't come from the same background as you. But I can tell you now, Beverly and my privileges are different. She's older than I am. She's been in the workforce longer than me. Our educational paths don't align. Our religious beliefs, they may be the same. But we go to different churches, maybe different denominations. We know different people. Her privileges are going to be different from mine because her experiences have been different from mine. However, we have a lot in common. So again, those conversations, making connections, that's what makes us better. That's what makes us stronger. That's what will help to move the needle in our society. So instead of going along with this war on race and this war on equity, we have to be bold enough to stand against what the world is telling us and stand for what we believe is right. Thank you. If you have any questions, I have an email address up here. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or if you would like to continue the dialogue. Thank you.